Imagine this, you've saved for decades, made smart investment choices, and now you're sitting on $2 million at 61 years old. By most standards, you've won the retirement game. So why does the thought of quitting your job still keep you up at night? It's not just you. I see it all the time. High-income earners with millions saved who feel completely unsure about whether they can actually retire. They ask, is this really enough? What if healthcare costs wipe me out? Am I missing something? The truth is, having $2 million or $3 million doesn't automatically mean you're ready for retirement. In fact, if your income plan, tax strategy, and healthcare timeline is off even slightly, your entire retirement can feel unstable. That's why many people in your position hold back, not out of fear, but out of uncertainty. This episode is for every single 61-year-old or close to it who's done the hard work of saving but still feels trapped by the what ifs. Hey there, I'm Mark Wisniewski, president of Southern Incomes. For years, I've helped pre-retirees and high net worth families build retirement strategies that don't just look good on paper, they actually work in the real world. And today, we're going to break down why having $2 million or $3 million at 61 might not be enough, and what you can do to fix it. So, if you're wrestling with whether it's safe to retire, whether your plan will last, or whether you're missing something critical, this is the video you need. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. Every week, I share real-world financial guidance, retirement strategies, and tax-smart planning tips to help you retire with confidence. Reason number one, you have no income plan, just an account balance. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see in people nearing retirement. You've done the hard part. You've saved and invested diligently. You've built a nest egg, maybe even crossed the $2 million, $3, $4 million mark. But here's the thing, your account balance is not a retirement plan. Why? Because retirement is about income, not accumulation. When you're working, your paycheck covers your lifestyle. But in retirement, that paycheck can disappear. You have to start living off the money that you built up. The problem is, most people have never practiced how to turn that money into income. Without a withdrawal strategy in place, here's what tends to happen. You pull out too much too soon and increase the risk of running out. You pull out too little and shortchange your lifestyle. You start guessing at taxes and end up with surprise tax bills. You panic during market dips because you don't know what's safe to spend. Even high earners with millions saved find themselves feeling unsure because they've never had to reverse engineer their finances this way before. You need to know how much you can safely spend every month, which accounts to pull from first, pre-tax, Roth, taxable, how to protect your money from sequence of return risk, how to build in flexibility so you don't over-adjust every time the market moves. Without this kind of structure, your $2 or $3 million might feel like a guessing game. And that's exactly why many people delay retirement, even when the numbers look strong. The solution? Build a retirement income plan that feels like a paycheck. One that gives you a steady, tax-smart income that you can actually count on. That way your wealth becomes a tool, not a stressor. Reason number two, you're underestimating healthcare and insurance costs. Many people in their early 60s believe that if they have a large portfolio, healthcare won't be an issue. But here's what most don't realize. Healthcare is one of the most unpredictable and expensive parts of retirement. And failing to plan for it can derail even a multi-million-dollar nest egg. Let's start with Medicare. You're not eligible until 65. So if you retire at 61, you're on the hook for private insurance for at least 4 years. And depending on where you live and what your income level is, that coverage can cost $800 to $1,200 per month per person, not including deductibles, co-pays, or your prescriptions that you might have. So that means a healthy couple retiring at 61 could easily be looking at $40,000 to $60,000 in out-of-pocket costs before Medicare even begins. Now, let's say you hit 65 and finally qualify for Medicare. Problem solved, right? Not exactly. Medicare doesn't cover everything. It won't pay for long-term care, which costs thousands per month. Dental, vision, and hearing expenses are often excluded. You'll still need supplemental coverage to avoid major gaps. And if you're a high-income earner, your Medicare premiums are means tested, which means they go up based on your income, thanks to something called IRMAA, Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amounts. Translation, if you're pulling large amounts from pre-tax accounts, you could be paying hundreds more each month in premiums without even realizing it. Add it all up, and healthcare becomes not just an expense, but a planning obstacle. It impacts your withdrawal strategy, your tax planning, and even the decision of when you're going to retire. The solution? Start by estimating your total healthcare costs through 90 or even 95, including premiums, out-of-pocket, and long-term care. Consider tools like a health savings account or HSA if you still qualify, long-term care coverage, or hybrid life policies that include living benefits. Coordinating your income withdrawals to avoid Medicare premium surcharges when possible. Planning early can turn healthcare from a retirement wildcard into a manageable part of your long-term income plan. Reason number 3, you don't understand your tax exposure. A $2 or $3 million portfolio might feel like financial freedom until the taxes take their share. And for many retirees, that really hits hard when they start withdrawing money and realize just how much of it isn't really theirs. Here's the key truth. The IRS is your silent partner in retirement, especially if most of your money is in tax-deferred accounts like 401ks. Let's break it down. If a large chunk of your portfolio is in a traditional IRA or a 401k, every dollar you withdraw is taxed as ordinary income. That means you could be paying 22% to 35% or more in federal taxes depending on your total income. If you live in a high tax state, add another 5 to 10%. And because Social Security becomes taxable once your income crosses a certain threshold, you're stacking tax on top of tax. Think of it like this. If your $2 or $3 million portfolio could easily shrink by 25 or 35% after taxes, bringing your usable nest egg closer to 1.3 or $1.5 million, are you really feeling secure? Now, add in required minimum distributions, or RMDs, starting at age 73. Whether you need the income or not, you're forced to withdraw a growing percentage of your tax-deferred accounts every year, potentially pushing you into a higher tax bracket and increasing your Medicare premiums due to that IRMAA that we talked about. And let's not forget about capital gains taxes if you've built up a sizable brokerage account. If you're selling appreciated assets to fund your lifestyle or rebalancing your portfolio, you might trigger a surprise tax bill, especially if you're unaware of how the capital gains bump zone works when combined with Social Security income. So, what's the fix? Smart retirees don't ask, how much do I have? They ask, how much will I keep? Here are a few steps to help manage your tax exposure. Build a withdrawal strategy that considers the tax type of each account: pre-tax, after-tax, Roth. Use Roth conversions strategically in your 60s while you're in those lower brackets to reduce future RMDs. Harvest capital gains tax in low-income years to pay 0% on growth. Be mindful of income thresholds that trigger higher Medicare premiums or Social Security taxation. Your portfolio might say $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, but without proper planning, your retirement lifestyle will reflect a lot less. Understanding and minimizing your lifetime tax liability is one of the smartest ways to stretch your money, and it's one reason why many high earners feel like they can't retire despite the numbers looking great on paper. Reason number 4, you don't have a real income plan. You've built your portfolio, you've saved diligently, you see $2 million, $3 million, $4 million staring back at you. But here's the hard truth. Having investments is not the same as having a retirement income plan. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They've been great savers for 30 plus years, but once the paychecks stop, they have no idea how to turn their savings into income without running out of money. Why? Because retirement is a complete shift in financial thinking. In your working years, your income is predictable and steady. In retirement, you're in charge of creating that income. And the wrong strategy can cause you to drain your account too quickly or pay way more in taxes than necessary. Here's what a real income plan accounts for. When to claim Social Security. Hint, getting this wrong can cost you 6 figures in your lifetime. Which account to pull from first, pre-tax, Roth, brokerage, to minimize those taxes. How to handle market volatility without panicking and selling low. How to protect your income from inflation, long-term care needs, or rising healthcare costs. How to coordinate income with RMDs, Medicare premiums, and tax brackets. Most retirees default to a basic rule of thumb, like the 4% rule, just taking money when they need it. That's not a plan. That's a guess. And if you're guessing with $2, $3, $4 million in your portfolio, that's a high stakes game. Without a plan, you might take too much too early, too little, or trigger tax consequences that ripple into your Medicare premiums and estate plan. You might invest too conservatively out of fear or too aggressively out of greed. A real income plan not only tells you how much you can safely spend each year, but also it gives you confidence to actually spend it. No guilt, no second guessing. That's the difference between retiring on paper and retiring with peace of mind. Reason number 5, you don't know how long your money needs to last. One of the most overlooked risks in retirement is longevity. In simple terms, you might live a lot longer than you expect. And while living a long, healthy life is a blessing, financially, it's also a major challenge. If your retirement plan only accounts for you living into your 70s or early 80s, you're missing the mark, and that can be why you can't confidently retire even with $2 or $3 million in your portfolio. Here's the reality. A healthy 61-year-old today has a good chance of living well into their 90s. If you're married, there's about a 50% chance that at least one of you will live past age 90. Medical advances are even making it more likely that people will live longer, and they're going to need income longer. What does that mean for your retirement? It means that your portfolio isn't just supporting you for 10, 15, or even 20 years. It could need to last 30 or 40 years. Think about that. If you retire at 62 and live to 95, that's 33 years of withdrawals, 33 years of healthcare costs, 33 years of inflation eating into your purchasing power. This is why simply doing the back of the napkin estimate, like dividing your portfolio by 25 or even 30, doesn't cut it. Retirement planning needs to be much more sophisticated. It's not just about whether you have enough today, it's about whether your money can grow and adapt and protect your lifestyle for decades to come. Without factoring in longevity, you could underinvest and lose purchasing power to inflation. You could overspend early, leaving yourself vulnerable in your 80s or your 90s. You could underestimate healthcare and long-term care costs, which typically are going to spike up later in life. In fact, one of the biggest regrets retirees share is that they didn't plan for a longer retirement, and they found themselves making painful decisions in their later years. A true retirement plan plans for you living longer than you expect, not shorter, because in retirement, running out of money at age 85 is not a risk that you can afford to take. Reason number 6, you're underestimating taxes and healthcare costs. It's easy to think that once you stop working, your taxes will magically disappear. But unfortunately, retirement doesn't mean tax-free life. In fact, taxes often become even more complicated once you're retired. Here's why. Required minimum distribution, or RMDs, from traditional IRAs or 401ks are fully taxable as ordinary income. Social Security benefits can be taxed based on your other income sources. Capital gains, dividends, pension, rental income, all of these can trigger different types of taxes. You could even be pushed into a higher Medicare premiums if your income crosses a certain threshold known as IRMAA surcharges. And that's just the tax side. Healthcare costs are another ticking time bomb many retirees underestimate. According to Fidelity, the average 65-year-old couple retiring today will need about $315,000 for healthcare expenses throughout retirement. And that doesn't include long-term care. If you think Medicare covers everything, you better think again. Medicare has premiums, deductibles, and copay. It doesn't cover dental, vision, or hearing. It definitely doesn't cover long-term custodial care like assisted living or home care. Healthcare inflation also runs faster than general inflation, historically around 5 to 7% annually, meaning the cost of care keeps climbing even faster than your groceries or housing. The bottom line, if your retirement plan doesn't factor in rising healthcare expense and a smart tax strategy to minimize your lifetime tax bill, you could see your hard-earned $2, $3, $4 million drained much faster than you expect. Many high net worth retirees are shocked when they realize that poor tax planning and unexpected medical bills, not reckless spending, were the biggest threats to their financial security. Smart retirement planning isn't just about investing. It is about managing taxes year after year after year, planning for escalating healthcare costs, structuring your income streams to be sustainable and tax efficient for decades to come. Otherwise, that $2 or $3 million in that nest egg can start to feel much, much smaller. If you're 61, sitting on what looks like a solid $2, $3, or $4 million, but you're still feeling unsure about retirement, you're not alone. It's not just about how much you've saved. It's about how you structure, protect, and use that wealth to last 30 plus years. Between inflation, poor withdrawal strategies, underestimating taxes, healthcare costs, and missing a comprehensive income plan, there are real risks that can quietly chip away at your nest egg faster than you think. The good news, you don't have to guess your way through this. If you want help building a smarter, personalized retirement plan that's designed to last, click the link in the description and book a free call with me. Let's make sure your $2 or $3 million actually works for you, not against you in retirement.